everyone, welcome back to some more Let's Play Eye of the Beholder. In the last episode, our adventurers traveled through the 5th level of the dungeon and explored most of it. We encountered some dwarves down here who are recovering from an ambush that Drow apparently had done to them via one of the portals in this realm. We actually found one of those portals before we had encountered the dwarves and saw how it works. If you imprint the symbol, a stone sigil of some sort, into the slot which is lacking in that portal, it will activate, and then you can take that portal to a different location, wherever it was that the portal brings you to. Basically, it's like a teleporter that travels between the levels of this dungeon. And we discovered that the amulet one will bring us to someplace in a different level. I don't know what level it was that we ended up on, but it will bring us someplace there. It looked rather dark on that level, so I suspect it is at least 2 below us, because I think the walls of the floor below will look similar to this floor. We discovered that another one of those stone items will bring us to just outside the Oracle chamber, and the dwarves told us how to use that chamber. If we find, I think it's called an orb of power, we can place it in this small alcove there, and then the items that we possess will be identified. We will actually understand exactly what these things do for us. You might see that we have a 6th party member with us at the moment. Todd Uphill, a halfling thief whose bones we found up on the very first dungeon floor. If you bring a full set of bones to the dwarven cleric on this floor, he will be able to resurrect the fallen and bring them back to life. Todd was a bit confused. He was surprised that he died on the first floor of the dungeon and has offered his services to us. I don't really trust him. I suspect he's actually like a well-known thief is my guess, but we don't recognize him. Most of us, I suppose, are also newcomers to this city. In any case, we're looking pretty good so far. We are close to having our clerics hit level 5, and once that transpires, the time limit we are currently on will actually be removed, because we will no longer have to worry about our hunger meter. Right now, we are low on food, with most of us having at least one packet of rations remaining. But we're going to be starving all too soon. We can't afford to sit and rest for too long because we're short on food. But once we have create food, that will no longer be an issue. So I'm looking forward to that in our immediate future. As long as we're talking for a bit, I'm going to start this video by trying to describe the arid dungeon that we must have just been through, because I forgot, and I'm so sorry everyone, that I focused almost entirely on the gameplay that transpired last episode and didn't talk about the lore at all, what must have happened on this floor, or why it looks the way that it looks like. And unfortunately, unless you guys are going to go online and look up what the levels look like, I don't have a good way to show the maps that I have in front of me here to try to describe it, but I'll do my best to describe it to you. The dwarves told us that this used to be their realm at some point, or a part of it, and I think we probably traveled through some of the royal apartments here. It looks like there was a giant throne room here at some point, and I'm guessing that where the dwarves are currently holed up and recovering from their ambush must have been where the royal family was staying at some point. There probably was a bedroom there, and so on, and a little off chamber, maybe where, I guess where their child had been, their prince at some point, I'm guessing. What doesn't help this game very much is that there's almost no scenery at all in the game. Like, there's no furniture, there's no shelves, it's walls with secret buttons hidden on them. But I think if we use our imagination, we can imagine that there was probably some furniture, maybe some stone furniture there, and the dwarves were holed up in that one room, recovering. I'm seeing a series of rooms that we explored, interconnected as well. So probably servant chambers. Probably somewhere in there was a kitchen as well. And those 3 locks probably led to, I guess, banquet halls or something of the sort off the throne room. Maybe one of them was used for entertainment and the other was for dining. For the twisty passages, I don't really have a good reason why those would exist. I'm guessing that the room with all the pits that appeared behind us, that must have been added later when the dwarves were driven out of these areas. The teleporter maze was probably placed there by a powerful mage at some point to try to confuse people and convince them not to proceed any further. But the mage probably didn't expect a group of adventurers to be able to save and reload the game instead of starving to death trying to solve that puzzle. But we solved it in short order. I think it was helpful that I have a map in front of me, although we did learn that the notes I have written for where those teleporters lead us aren't quite correct, which is a bit aggravating. But we're still able to piece it together. Let's now cover the statistics of our characters, and we'll talk a little bit about what we have so far for their backgrounds. So here's Scavvy, and we're going with that Scavvy was a pit fighter at some point and fought it perhaps in some sort of illegal arena matches. And this would explain why I'm having him do dual wielding. He was probably quite aggressive during these battles and fought for whatever purse was available. He's looking pretty good so far as well. He's level 5, and I think at 35,000 experience points, he hits level 6. He's looking for equipment for him. He's still wielding this ring, which is a ring of protection plus 3. As long as he's not wielding magic armor, this ring will grant him that extra armor class defensive benefit. Other than that, nothing else magical to really comment about. Alexander, we found some plate mail for him. It's not magical, but it does help reduce his armor class, which is very useful for him as a frontline fighter. He is also wielding the Drow Cleaver whenever the flame blades that we've had him learn expire. No other magic items to note. Here's his statistics in case you forgot. I think at 12,500 experience points, or it's 13,000, he will level up again. It might be 15. Can I Alt-Tab? I can. Hold on a second. Let me look this up really quick. So I have my script in effect. Second. Okay, this isn't going to work. Forget it. I can go off screen once I'm done with the summary really quick here and double check. But he's very close to level 5. And once we hit level 5, Create Food's going to solve a huge problem that we have in regards to how hungry we are. We've determined he's a cleric of the Master Forger, and this thus explains why he has his flame blade spells that he likes casting. That might explain the bless spells as well, as it solidifies and makes perhaps enchants the weapons and armor of our fellow adventurers. Roikvus is a cleric of a god of knowledge. In my world, that god was called a species, so I guess we'll go with that since no one has volunteered a name for that god at this moment. He's currently still windmilling, is what I like to call it, daggers at enemies, because this game uses the spell memorization mechanic. Roikvus, once you're higher level, and or if we ever find a ring of wizardry, we won't have to have you do this anymore. We'll give the daggers to someone else, and you will actually just cast spells. But at the moment, we need you throwing a Ginsu and Backstabber as much as possible. In any case, he's looking pretty good so far. We found a Cone of Cold wand, which is a decent wand to affect an area. So, glad to have that. Will be useful in the future, especially for the level below, for reasons you'll see soon. Oh, and for his statistics, I guess we should look at them really quick. Taghor was the dwarf that we nursed back to health at the beginning of the 4th floor. Good stats. Look at all these high stats these characters have. A 19 constitution? Good for him. Not very cute. But this is not a role-playing game. This is a dungeon-crawling hack-and-slash game, so all those points are put into statistics that would help him more. A fighter, though, without 18 strength seems a bit weird to me. If you're going to go ahead and just give him ability scores, game designers, you're supposed to give him 18/00 strength. Why not? That's what all the players would do. In any case, no magical items for him to speak of. The ring that he has isn't magical. The axe isn't magical. His armor isn't magical either. But he is busy hurling javelins and daggers as much as his little dwarf arms will allow him to do. Korkorhekis, we've discovered, is a rogue who probably ventured from city to city to avoid the law. And in the end, I think we can probably guess that he went to the Lords of Waterdeep with a request that they clear his name for any wrongdoings that he might or might not have been responsible for. And in return, he goes on this adventure. So that's what we're going to say he is doing. He has no magic items except for this ring, and we don't know what this ring does. I suspect it is a ring of featherfall, based on the fact that it doesn't affect our armor class at all. What that will mean is that if we ever fall into a pit, Korkorhekis will not take any damage from the fall, although the other players will. And we have Todd Uphill, who I think we talked about briefly. He is a level 5 fighter. We will probably drop him in the future for a different type of character if we find more bones down below. I would like to resurrect all the people that we find so we can at least learn a little bit about their story going forward. But right now we'll have him with us. It's a bit stereotypical to give our halfling a sling, but we did find a magic sling. And so that's handy to have. And so he's having this along with all of these incredible stones and giving us more range support. Very useful for fighting spiders. Look at these stats. Good God. I refuse to believe anyone rolled these stats randomly. Come on now. I won't believe it. He says that he is an adventurer of some renown. I suspect that he is, but that renown is more of the infamous kind than famous kind. And we found his dead body up on the first floor. So likely, I'm guessing he was a member of that Thieves Guild that we said we passed through on level 2. Also, really quick, I have a good idea, lore-wise, as to why we're fighting so many spiders. You might remember that the dwarves talked about being ambushed by the drow. And it occurred to me that drow and spiders are practically synonymous with each other. God, I hope I pronounced that correctly. You can't have one without the other, generally. That's not synonymous. That would be a symbiotic relationship. But drow worship spiders, right? Like, what is it? Loth, the spider god, is the one they worship the most. They have driders in their forces. The upper half of a elf, the lower half of a spider. And it would make sense that after being ambushed by the dwarves, or rather, I'm sorry, after their failed ambush on the dwarves, even though they captured the prince, that they would flood this area filled with spiders in an attempt to delay the dwarves from reaching them and prevent anyone from above reaching the dwarves to give them assistance. Speaking of the prince, I don't know if I mentioned it, I don't think I did, but the dwarves have tasked us with rescuing their prince, and in return, they will tell us how to escape these winding passages and get back up to the lands above. So that is our current objective. Find the prince that the dwarves have captured somewhere down below and rescue him, bring him back to the dwarves, and we are told how to leave this area. Alright, with all that said, I'm going to quickly save this part off because I don't want to have to re-record this again. Alright guys, I pulled up the experience tables for my clerics, fighters, and mages, and it's 13,000 experience points for our clerics, so they are getting close. We will definitely reach it in this episode. And without any further ado, let me just do some quick inventory management because it's something I feel like I always have to do. Let's see, I think everyone should have one stone item in their inventory. Alexander should probably give this axe to Scavvy. I guess we'll just hold on to these with you, Scabby. An extra suit, an extra weapon and shield in case we find another front fighter who would make more sense in the front line than Alexander. But at the moment, that's not the case. We'll leave the... Actually, I guess we should cast a prayer scroll immediately when we go downstairs. Some healing potions. We'll just hold on to them. I think we're also going to scribe the scrolls now. I've made up my mind as to who's going to get what. Okay, and let's go ahead now and rest again. So, let's double check everyone's spell selections. So, we're going to give Alexander, I think, 2 blesses, 1 cure light wounds, a detect magic. I don't think the things we're fighting down below in the next level are evil. So at the risk of metagaming a bit, I'll go with another bless instead of protection from evil. For our second level spells, we'll take... I guess we'll stick with 3 flame blades and a slow poison in case we double back up to check the levels above us. I think, everyone, we've missed a scroll of fireball somewhere above, because I'm pretty sure a normal mage would have been level 5 by now, and Fireball is an amazing spell, and I could have sworn this game has it. Actually, I had the manual pulled up in front of me, and it tells me Fireball is one of the spells available, so at the risk that we didn't get it because we didn't start with a pure mage, I'm going to pray that we didn't miss a scroll of Fireball somewhere in the levels above. I mention it because we're taking slow poison because I plan to worm our way back up through the levels and check level 3 and possibly even level 2 again to see if we missed it someplace up there. But if I do that, I can do that also off screen. Or I guess I can chat with you guys about Dungeons and Dragons-y stuff, something I keep meaning to do. Roikvis, let's clear your spells. So we will give you... I think we'll just give you... Yeah, we'll give you 5 Cure Light Wound spells. It's the only healing spell we have access to, Roikvis, and I want you having it. We're not going to need any more slow poisons, because I don't intend us to fight... Well, I guess we'll take 1 slow poison, just in case we do get poisoned by spiders. You'll take 2 aids and a hold person spell. And then to memorize our spells. So, Roikvis, we will grab... Yeah, I think all 3 magic missiles. And, yep, you only have Mel's Acid Arrow as your level 2 spells, so you'll keep them. And Kukurhekis, I'm fine with... Actually, I really should give Kukurhekis just to detect magic, because the likelihood of him actually casting a spell in combat is very low, since he's using that bow almost exclusively. So, with that in mind, I will... just give him detect magic spells and invisibilities. Spells that I don't have to actually manipulate his what he has equipped in order to cast them. And on that note, though, then we don't need to detect magic with Alexander. So we can get 2 blesses, 2 Cure Light Wounds. And we'll give him another bless. Let's rest the party. All right. Go ahead and cast a bless. Cast a flame blade. And head on downstairs after I save the game. Oh, man. That's a shame. I just looked over to the left on the manual, and I've seen a creature I forgot was in this game. Oh, man. I forgot they were in this. I'm not even going to mention it to you guys. It won't be something till we meet much later on in the game. And footsteps. Heavy-sounding footsteps. But I know that these do not belong to anything that is particularly wide. But it's still menacing for other reasons, which we will see very soon. And I step on this, it doesn't make any sound. It's obvious we need something here. Store weapons before proceeding. Okay. Well, we'll give you a sword. We'll give you an axe. No? Do I have to put him here? Do we need more than that? We could take him back, but I'll leave them there. Let's go ahead and cast Prayer. Prayer is like Kenku, is what that was. Prayer is like Bless, but I think it lowers the hit rate of enemies. Oh, God! In it as well. Holy crap, what a tough Kenku. Kenku, I don't think they're evil. I think they're chaotic, though. They all have Magic Missile. They can instinctively cast it, which is really annoying when you're fighting them in Dungeons & Dragons. Because you take guaranteed damage. I suppose that is something that's works a little differently in this game than in others. Because the Kenku do not automatically... Magic Missile normally always unerringly strikes the target. Uh-oh, another Kenku. We don't want to get pinned. Oh, Magic Missile. Taking a hit from that quarterstaff. Good God! The hit points on these things. Holy crap! Don't ever feel bad for a single Kenku, which is actually the size of one of us. It's a human-sized creature, but good God, they have a ton of hit points. We'll eat some of this food. Want to put back on our daggers. Oh, I don't like that your spear goes to your offhand, Tagore. I wish you weren't doing that. I really do enjoy the quality of life changes games like Grimrock did, where your heroes automatically pick up items that they had thrown or fired. It is rather annoying to have to do that by hand. Okay, we took some hits, so let's go ahead and heal those hits. Oh my God! 1 hit point each time! That's so... 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons frustrating. Oh, I mentioned scribing scrolls and I didn't do it, so let's go ahead and do this now. So... Roikvis, since he is likely to cast attack spells, will take Flame Arrow. And, because it makes sense thematically, we'll give him Dispel Magic. Now, Dispel Magic is a bit odd in this game. I seem to remember that the way this works here is that... Oh, I don't think there's any use for it in this game. But Dispel Magic will first off purge magic effects off of us that are hostile. That like debuffs, but I don't think there's very many of those. And it also can get rid of things like a magic barrier. I don't remember if there's any of them in this game, but we'll let Roikvis go ahead and scribe those. Kokorhekis will take haste and invisibility 10-foot radius. Now this is a 4th level spell, if I recall correctly, not a 3rd level spell. I might be wrong. I don't have the spells up here any longer, just the XP tables, but we'll have to memorize that. Another bless spell. I guess we'll go with an aid. You can hear more Kenku walking around. I do wish the spells lasted a bit longer. Any spells that were a combat-related spell that was in my world, when I was, well, my world? From my system, I made sure would last a while to make it more useful. So a Flame Blade spell would last hours, not minutes, because it was awful. Just awful. If it only lasted like 20 minutes. That's one combat. That's just... Come on now. And you could sheath it also. Oh, hello. Kenku. We want to move away. Throw a bunch of different things at him. Yeah. Dodge to the side. 13 damage, Scabby. Very nice. Very nice indeed. How's our experience? Looking promising. I think, Roikvis, once you get access to a 3rd level spell, we may have you just cast spells, and we move the daggers to Tagore. I plan to drop Todd uphill at some point in the future as well. I would like to see what all the characters do. I'd like to see all of the dead characters, the bones that we have. I want to see what they say when we resurrect them. Okay, let's go with this. Save the game again, just in case we accidentally level. A Kenku egg. So they're guarding their home, a nest of sorts of theirs. I'm going to feel a little guilty about this, but we're taking it. We're taking the egg. On the off chance it actually proves to be something that we require, and I think it probably is. We don't have a key for that door, so we're not opening it at the moment. Let's press on. I hear footsteps. I see a scroll. Oh my god! What's this? You interrupt a dark-robed figure. He's startled at first, then sneers in recognition. Oh, you, Waterdeep saviors of the weak. You don't realize how many other adventurers have been sent to find the truth about the evils underground. Well, rented redeemers, let me give you the benefit of my vast and profound knowledge. Xanathar has been undermining Waterdeep for years. When Waterdeep is sufficiently weakened, he will lead his minions in conquest of the unsuspecting city. The only way to stop Xanathar is to kill him, and that would be virtually impossible without the Wand of Sylvius. As I understand it, the dwarves have the magical artifact, but they do not know what they possess. The Drow know that the Wand of Sylvius is powerful, but not of its use against Xanathar. You see, the wand is one of the few magic items that can affect a beholder, because it is made from a beholder's eye stalk. Now, I don't think that's the way it works at all. I remember that in the spelljamming world, because I ran a really good spelljamming campaign as well. My goodness, I was great. I'm also very humble about it. But beholder ships. Imagine a boat, right? And it's got like 30 beholders on it. Like, that's a nightmare to run into normally. But the beholders were obsessed with killing other beholders. Any small alteration to a beholder from compared to what its other kin look like was enough to enrage them, and they would spend all this time fighting each other. And their eye stalks, if I recall correctly, their eye beams didn't work on each other. In part, I guess it was because of the central eye would constantly be dispelling anything that was coming at them. But you could only really affect beholders with magic if you were able to hit them without the giant center eye staring at you, because the center eye had an anti-magic ray coming out of it, if I recall correctly. A beholder, just in case you don't know what it is, it's it's like a 4-foot sphere. And it's a monster. It's got a giant center eye in the center, and then it has these like imagine them like different dreadlock strands, and at the end of each of them, off of it, is another eye, and each of those eyes, I think there's generally like 12 of them, has its own special power. One eye beam can petrify you, another can kill you outright, another can paralyze you, Another does incredible amounts of damage to you, and so on. It's a real nightmare to fight it. It's also got a giant mouth filled with teeth. They hover above the ground. If you've seen Big Trouble in Little China, the floating face with the multiple eyes is not too far-fetched from what it looks like, although that was much smaller than what a normal beholder is. Anyway, let's continue. Stupid drow. They're supposed to be Zenithar's allies, but they plan to finish off the dwarves, steal the wand, and use it to raid the city. This would alert the Lords of Waterdeep to the immensity of that threat from below ground, and delay Zenithar's plans of conquest. So I have to stop the drow and get the wand of Sylvius for myself. You see, my friends, I have no intention of stopping Zenithar until he has completed the conquest of Waterdeep. After the conquest, Zenithar will be at his weakest. Only then will I strike. Zenithar will be at my mercy, and Waterdeep will be mine. So I certainly can't let you keep Zenithar from conquering Waterdeep. I need only get the wand of Sylvius, and, of course, kill you. Now, this is a bit much. He's giving us this huge lecture, diatribe, which just, I mean, immediately, if we look at the mage as well, we can tell. But the fact that he just had like 5 paragraphs worth of, what's what I'm looking for? Why can't I think of it at the moment? I can't think of the name. It's right at the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it. But the fact that he just went on this long talk, it's obvious he's evil. Because only someone this so evil would talk this way. He's got to be chaotic evil is my guess. Let me get away. Oh, God! Oh! Oh, my God! We're almost dead with Kokorhekis. And of course, okay, we'll let him run away. That's oh god, he's coming back. Yes, in the face with that. Why can't we hit him? Whoo! All right, victory. A very costly victory. Well, sorry, not a very costly victory. One that almost cost us a life. I think he used a fireball on us at the start, or a cone of a ice storm spell. I think is what he used. We are badly hurt, so we need to double back upstairs now. So why don't we do that? You know, I also don't like that Tagor's putting his javelins in the offhand. So we're going to actually give him the shield to stop him from doing that. I think we're going to be taking less and less normal daggers with us, too. I just want the magical ones. I don't want to have to spend all this time picking up other ones. Oh, wow, we didn't even shoot a single thing with you, Kokorhekis. I was worried about dying instead, apparently. I don't have to drink these potions, but I'm gonna do it. Because we're just gonna keep getting more and more potions. And also, it will save the amount of time we have to rest for. I think we're so close to leveling, though. We're not going to keep the normal sling. Keep that behind as well. We have another wand. We should see what this wand does. Kokor. It's a Cone of Cold wand. Another one. Okay, you hold on to that. Another normal dagger. Rock. Let's put you there. Just double checking. Okay. Now we totally fired some stuff down hallways. Let's save the game. And double check Let's see how far. Wow, my goodness. You got a really strong throwing arm, Rokvus. What's your strength? 12? That's a bit much for a mage. Mage School of Hold Person. That's a 4th level spell. Probably not very useful. We will, but I guess Rokvus should be the one to describe it because it's a combat spell. What I mean by combat spell is that it's a spell our mage will cast against something as it's moving around trying to hit us. Korkorhekis is almost exclusively going to be using that bow. So Rokvus will get that scroll. Is he guarding anything else? He must have been sitting here trying to scribe that scroll when we showed up. Alright, let's go back upstairs and rest. Well, actually, how close are we to leveling? We are very close. Let's see if we can kill something else and gain a level. And then rest. Although we are running out of spells. Uh-oh. Okay. Crap. All right. We're going to have to go back and actually get that that sword after all. I guess we'll leave that open too. Okay. So we've already been down into these rooms. And so far I don't have a good feeling for what type of floor this is. The map shows several of these rooms off to the sides with a large open area through the locked door here. So this is probably where the other dwarves of the kingdom were staying. These look like small rooms that dwarves in a Dwarven Fortress game would have used. We leveled? What did we do? Okay. Alexander, I think, gained 2 hit points? And Rokvus gained 3. That is unacceptable. Yeah, that is unacceptable. Okay. But it does mean we're very close to leveling, which is great. So we're going to go back over here. We're going to take the sword. Save the game. Something must have died and gave us that experience points, unless we gained it just by walking, which is, I guess, possible. We went down here. Okay, so that wasn't enough to level us. We already took the scroll. And now we're not going to level, so I don't understand what happened here. But we get another Kenku egg. You know, could always have an omelet. Can we eat this? Oh my god. Can we eat them? I think they're used for something. I don't think we're supposed to, I don't think we're supposed to eat them. So I'm not gonna. I think they're used for a special quest on this level. Well, I don't know why we just suddenly gained a level of experience earlier, but we're not gaining it now. I think that's a trap. I can see the holes here for darts. If I place something there, does it activate? Requires us to step on it. All right, let's not do that then. All Kenku are able to use magic missiles. We don't want to stand really in front of them at all. Don't feel bad for them. Ah! Nice try. Oops. Well, that was a bit disappointing. Hey, we leveled! We gained 2 hit points and 3 hit points. That is awful, so we're just going to reload again. What the heck, game? Why such low rolls for hit points? This is awful. There's so much about 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons that I hate. There's so much about it I loved as well, but I'm beginning to realize that I think a lot of what I liked about the game was how I altered it. Uh-oh. Oh, Tim. We don't want to stand toe-to-toe. I also don't want... oops, that's a bit awkward. When the enemy moved, we gained 5 hit points with Alexander and 3 with Roikvis. I'm tempted to keep that. I don't like it as much as if we had gotten 4 hit points on Roikvis. It will be tough for him to get that many. Good God, look at all the stuff that happened in this room. Okay, let's see. Take back some daggers. Have another rock. We have a spear. Darts. Okay, there was 1 set of darts that got fired, and that was the only group. Our clerics also reached level 5, everyone, so that means I'm no longer on a time limit, which is fantastic. I don't think the Kenku probably designed this trap. This must have been here. The dwarves might have been trying to stop someone from reaching whatever rooms are below this one and put this trap here. I mean, it's an obvious trap to me, though. You know you're not supposed to step on this. Or so I would think. I guess we should probably take all the darts and cast Detect Magic to see if any of these are indeed magical. Nope. None of those are magical, so none of those are worth taking. I guess I don't need all these rocks. Okay, so since our clerics have leveled, we're going to go back upstairs and rest. Okay, time to talk about the 3rd level spells that our clerics gain access to. Create food. Heals your hunger meter to full, to my recollection. Since we have 2 clerics, they'll both take 1 of them, and we will never, ever worry about food ever again. Create food is also probably one of the more useful 3rd level spells that we have access to. They do get access to Dispel Magic, but we're probably not going to really need this, and if we do, we can always rest, have them clear a different 3rd level spell, and retake it. Magic Vestment creates a magic suit of chainmail that the cleric wears, which I think is armor class 5. We have plate mail, and scale mail, which is better and almost better than what Magic Vestment grants us, so this isn't that useful. Prayer is like, if I recall correctly, Bless, but I think it also weakens enemies. It gives them a -1 to all their rolls. I don't think it lasts as long as Bless either. And removes paralysis from a single party member if they're affected by it. It does not remove it from yourself. Pay attention, because if you play Dungeon Hack, your cleric can take remove paralysis, which does nothing for him if he's paralyzed, because you can't cast it. One of the most useless spells in the game Dungeon Hack ever. God, what an awful game that was. So we'll take Create Food for Alexander and a Prayer spell for him. We gain access to another 2nd level spell. Let's grab Hold Person. And no extra 1st levels. Roikvis then will take a Create Food, and I guess we'll grab a Remove Paralysis with him. We're not likely to find any creatures that are casting paralysis or using it on us anytime soon, I think. But we'll give it to him just in case I'm wrong. And I guess we'll give him... I think Hold Person can affect the Kenku, so we'll give him that as well. Okay, let's rest the party. We'll say no to this. Instead, exit. And now we'll start casting some of our spells. And you know what, Roikvis? I'm going to actually do the thing I said I was going to do later now. We'll move all of our throwing items to Tagore. And you'll be on spell duty now. We're taking damage, which means that we are probably going to need to be concerned about healing ourselves. We should have had him memorize a bunch of Cure Light Wound spells, but this will be okay. It won't take us too long. And we can cast Create Food. And our hunger meters are completely filled. We will still hold on to some food, because it might be useful to have this for, like, side quests, like putting them in something. There might be a pressure plate or an alcove that wants us to put food in it. So we're not going to drop it, but we will no longer need to eat it. Now we rest again. Oh, you know what I should be doing? We're going to rest at least one more time. There's no reason why we can't cast a bunch of invisibilities. Even though we're going to attack with everybody right away and it's going to fade, I should get used to using it anyway. In case you do not know, while you're invisible, enemies suffer a -4 to hit you, if I recall correctly. So armor class is considered 4 lower. And that's all we need to do. So let's camp. Rest. Alright, and we save the game. And now, what do we want to do? We could double back upstairs and check the levels I missed. I think there might be a fireball scroll someplace up there. Or we proceed onward. So, let's keep going and see if we get more magic items. Because if we do, we will be able to... Hopefully one of them will be like an orb of power, and we can identify some of what we possess. Though we'll have to be a bit frugal with them. They're not an infinite resource to my recollection. And as such, we're going to need to be a little careful about how often we use them. Now, also a heads up that I'm pretty sure the Kenku on this floor do respawn. So you can't take forever down here. Alright, so we've cleared all these side rooms. So let's go back to the trap room. Yeah! Wasted your magic missile. Take it, Kenku. But they can cast them multiple times. Oh, they drop food for you. Okay. So, I guess the game expects you to farm these. Oh, that's interesting. Tagore doesn't grab the spear next. He grabs one of the other daggers from the belt next. I guess I'm glad about that. This is really a freaking annoying game. These hit chances are just awful. Like, really abysmal. Thankfully, and this is something I've always had trouble with as a dungeon master as well, combat in this game is very quick. Normally, in 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons, it can take an hour or so to do... I guess that's... He gained 5 hit points. Effing really? Really? He has a 14 constitution. He's a fighter. So he rolled a 2. I don't care about Todd Uphill. We're not going to keep him. So he can keep his 2 flipping hit points. I'm sorry, everyone. You're going to hear me complaining a lot as we go forward. I guess we're getting a small taste of what the hate play would be if I was to go through Pool of Radiance. Because some of the game mechanics, especially when they focus on combat, are just... they're just awful. Just... basic 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons is just awful for its combat mechanics. I really don't like them. My opinion, of course, is that they're awful. Your opinion may be different, and that's great. Actually, we should keep that shut. Okay, so let's proceed onward. Another rock. I guess we should hold on to these. I was about to say, thought I saw a Kenku for half a... Yes! Way to go, Tim. You threw it down the wrong passage. We don't want to be standing toe-to-toe with a Kenku. So we'll eat a magic missile spell. Tagore gained 6 hit points. You're kidding me. Did he gain 6 or did he gain 15? I think he gained 15, not 6. I think he had 45. I can't check, which is the most annoying thing in the world because of how the game... I can check, but it requires me reloading. I don't want to reload it. So we'll keep him with what he rolled. I think he did roll a 15, which is the max hit points he can gain. So that is acceptable. And since we have so many people leveling, we should save the game. The preferences? We should save the game. Cast another bless. No one's wounded. Will aid. Alexander, I guess we should probably consider... moving Tagore? Nice, good hits. 31. We're almost at 35,000. Oh, 32,000 is when he levels up. So we're practically there for Scavvy. Let's make sure that we can re-roll his hit points if it comes down to it. When I did hit points for my characters, whenever... So... When I start playing a campaign, a new campaign, I have new characters, I usually, almost always, start those players at level 2, not level 1. And they always have max hit points for that level. If they're going to be higher level, it's usually only level 3 that's the highest level I like starting a campaign on. And even then, I'll give them max hit points at that level. But whenever they level after their initial creation, I let my players roll 2 dice and choose them, or I let them roll 1 dice, and if it's less than half their max hit points that they would have rolled, they gain half their max hit points, and I let them choose which of those 2 options they want. So they get 2 chances to get more than like a good amount of hit points when they level, or they get a guaranteed, at the very least, half their hit points. I've been thinking about making it +1 more than max or hit points to see if more players would bite that. Most of them decide to roll the 2 dice when they level up rather than 1, on the off chance that it's a 50-50, like it's a, okay, we got 50, we got, you know, you roll a dice, you roll low, well, the dice is probably going to roll high, so you stick with it. But just rolling 1 dice and being saddled with whatever you roll is just awful. I hate it. That's a Kenku, we gotta move back. Move out of the way. They all can cast magic missiles, and they have more than one of them. We leveled. Scavvy gained 9 hit points. Alexander gained 5 hit points. This means Scavvy, he gained 9. He has +3 hit points. He rolled a 6. We can do better than that, I think. So let's do this twice on screen. Although Alexander did roll high, so I think if we get something similar with the kill this time, we will keep it. Where are you? I know you're here. Wait, I went the wrong way? No, you did not go the wrong way. This is the right way. Okay, there's no Kenku in this little room. Where are you, Kenku? Not there. We don't want to get pinned. Oh my god, there's no Kenku? Where is he? Oh, okay. It must have been a random spawn, or is there an invisible wall? Oh no! This area is not fully marked out on my map. We should be careful. Alright, let me look at my map really quick. So where am I? I'm facing east. Okay, I see where I am on my map. So let's go back down this passage. The opening of this door is on the other side. Okay, let's proceed upstairs. There could be spiders up here. We're back up to level 5. And we've heard spiders around. Oh, wait. Was this always here at level 5 and I never took it downstairs? Yes. Okay. Well, I'm dumb. I forgot the staircase was here. Okay. Let's also save the game. Arguably, I should go back upstairs and rest because we're almost out of flame blades, but we'll keep going. Oh, I don't see any way to open that door from this side. We can't pry the door open. Let's look down this hallway for anything that might be like a secret button. No, nothing. We can't open that door either. So we have a key that we found. So we'll have to hope that opens the one locked door, which was back up this way. Oh, hello, Kenku. What the heck? I did talk about respawns. That went the really wrong way. Less hit points earned for both of them, I think. Scabby had 59. Yeah, he gained only 8 that time, and Alexander grabbed 3. So that was just worse in every way imaginable. You up here? Okay. I'm going to quickly save the game. So this way when we kill him, we can just, you know, if we don't get hit points we want, we can just redo it again. Even less hit points for Scabby. Just 5. What the heck? What the heck, game? Let's do one more. One more of these attempts on screen, and then we'll off screen. Killing the Kenku for hit points. I guess we could save the game now? Since he's hurt? 70. Alexander only gained like 2 hit points, though. I do like what Scabby gained. He gained 11. But not what Alexander gained. He gained 2. Nope, we can do better than that. Scavy gained not a lot. Alexander gained a decent amount. Nope. Not keeping that. Nope. Alexander gained just 3. It's a fighter level. I want him to gain at least 4 hit points. But Scavy gained 4 hit points. The lowest he could roll. Nope. That's unacceptable. Oh, Alexander gained the minimum amount. Okay, I'm going to off-screen this, everyone. I'll be back. Okay, it took, I kid you not, like 50 more attempts to get a decent roll for both of them. So we're keeping this. Scavy got an 11, which meant that if he gets a 10-sided dice, and I think that's what fighters get in 2nd edition, then he rolled a 7, which is acceptable. And Alexander gained 5 hit points as a fighter, with a constitution score of 17. So he also rolled a 7. So that's acceptable. 2 7s for them to get them the hit points that they gained. 5 for Alexander and 11 for Scavy. Actually, Scavy rolled an 8 then. So that is actually really good. That took way too long. Oh my god, game. It's making me so angry. Okay, so we probably should. I guess we probably should rest. No, let's keep playing a little bit longer. No, we should leave. First off, resting has nothing to do with how long you play the game for, Tim. We shut doors behind us because we know enemies respawn in those rooms. We go back upstairs and rest again, since we want more flame blades for Alexander. Okay. We rest. What level are you? 16,000? 20,000 is when our mages will level. So they need 8,000 more to get that. How about our thief? I can't tell. 1 second, let me scroll down on this. 40,000 as well, until he's leveled up. So, sorry, 20,000 as well for them. So Kokorhagas will gain a thief and a mage level at the same time. We'll just get a mage level. Okay, well, let's head back downstairs. We'll play for another, like, 15 minutes, everyone, and then we'll call the session for this time. So, yeah, so we've already covered what we think this room is, which is some sort of dormitory and main meeting hall for the dwarves when they used to have hold over this area. This is why we can't create food. We should double check to make sure we don't have any Kenku sneak up behind us. Kenku were an interesting creature decision, I think, for this game as well. I wouldn't have put Kenku here, but maybe that's why the game is a classic, because Tim didn't have any part to play in it. Oh, wow, that's a lot of Kenku. Nope, we did not paralyze him. Yep, so we need to be really careful. Sorry, I'm running past you guys, I know. We don't want to stand toe-to-toe with the Kenku. Woo, because of exactly that reason. Stop swapping, please. Stop it. Woo, 14 damage. Now, every time, by the way, that our characters level, they are getting stronger beyond their hit points. Fighters will gain more. Will have an easier time hitting targets the higher they are. Oh, a staff! I think this could be used to attack an enemy from the back ranks if we want to give it to somebody. I guess we'll still take it to detect magic it later. We don't want to waste a single arrow. We don't want Kenku flooding the way back up either, so we shut that door behind us. Looks like our aid spells expired. Can you imagine if Dungeons & Dragons worked like this? This, like... That would be super frustrating for the Dungeon Master to have any of his creatures kill any of the players if they're attacking and moving away, and he can't seem to catch them. I think that's supposed to be the Kenku screeching as it attacks us as well. Okay, we take it back. It takes so long to pick up all the equipment and put it back into proper slots. Guess the Dungeon Master... I imagine the Dungeon Masters who ran these SSI games just hated their players so much and wanted them to suffer as much as possible for daring to even suggest playing 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons with the standard rule set. Which is why so much of this is awkward. I'm sorry, everyone. So, welcome to Eye of the Beholder. Tim Hate plays through the game, apparently. Man, I thought it was going to be a lot more, a lot less of this, and a lot more me being impressed with how the game held up over time. It just doesn't seem to be the case at all. Nest is what that says. We'll come back for that. Let's finish exploring this floor. Oh, we have a teleporter here. It needs whatever goes in that slot, which I don't recognize. That's where we came from. We don't have the symbol that wants at the moment. Okay, so we're facing south. So before we go that way, let's explore the rest of this area first. I don't see any buttons on the walls. Hello, Kenku. I do like the AI in the game. I like that it recognizes that we're like distance from it, and so it should cast a spell. I think the magic missiles are on cooldown because I think they can cast like 3 of them total. Oh, big hit there, just as our blessed spell ended as well. Okay, let's cure. At 4th level, we get access to a Cure Serious Wound spell, but it's not necessarily any better. I made a few mid-level heal spells for my players to make up for the fact that there was so little healing in the game. And because, you know, as a dungeon master, you want your players to feel like they're not fighting for their lives, although that is always the case when they're fighting. But you want them to get beat up and win. Or at least I thought that was not the main objective of fighting. But it feels better if they struggle, like they appreciate the difficult battle. Assuming that there was a difficult fight that they just had accomplished or won. Which apparently involves singular Kenku in this game. Holy crap, we're getting a ton of quarterstaffs. These must not be magical then, if we're getting so many of them. We'll identify one of them and see. We'll detect magical effect. Why don't we do that now? So is that are these staves magical? No, that one's not, at least. Which means none of these are. Okay. You want your characters to get hurt. And of course, they'll want to heal themselves up afterwards. But, well, without good healing spells in the normal 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons, that's really flipping difficult to do. They end up spending lots of time just waiting around casting Cure Light Wounds, which is just boring. Very, very boring. Oh my god. Please kill it. This is not turning out to be the way I want to. I was anticipating playing the game, but it is absolutely the way I want to play it. Let's see. Let's give you that as well. There must be some sort of like enchantment that the Kenku also have going, some sort of defensive one, which explains why we can't seem to hit them very well. That has to be why we're missing so often with our melee attacks, at the very least. Alright, let's proceed down this hall. Keep an eye open for more. And actually, I guess we should cast, at the very least, a Bless spell. There's probably more Kenku behind that. Oh, wow, that's 3 of them. Oh, wow! Cone of Cold's wand used up, Roikvis. Oh, and everyone just suddenly gained a level, which is, great. And actually not everyone, just Kokorhekis, who gained 3 hit points, even though he gained 2 levels, which is awful. And Roikvis gained 2 hit points, which is acceptable for a mage. It's the least he can gain. Yeah, in the face! Here, have a magic missile. Oh, I was about to say, we'll run away from yours, but we will not do that as I hit a wall. Well, Cone of Cold wand used to good effect, although those will all respawn shortly. And cast a few Cure Wounds spells. Tagore, where's that? Oh, we're down a spear. We have another egg. I guess we're destroying families of Kenku in their homes, given that we're seeing groups of them here. We're gonna grab all the Kenku eggs, though. This is what they get for just not trying to talk with us. It's like they don't think we're humans, that we're gonna be here to steal their eggs and kill them. Which we're only doing because they're attacking us. Yes, that's the only reason we're doing it. No other reason. None. Okay. A whole person doesn't work on Kenku, apparently. Uh-oh. We are in a room. A big room. It's a big... Help! I don't know where I am. Alexander, you need a weapon. Oh, God! There's a Kenku behind us or something. Run this way. Pick up the sword. No, please stop. Don't swap. I don't want swapping. Throw. Throw everything. Back up, back up, back up. Back the F up. Really tough group of them. That's a miss, Tim. That's the wrong side. Everyone knows that you can't aim diagonal when using a bow. It's just not possible. The bows don't bend that way, which is why we have to shoot the arrow straight in front of us. Holy crap, that was tricky. That was a lot of running around like a crazy person. Alright, Tagore, let's give you back the spear and that dagger. I feel like we're missing quite a few of our throwing items. Let's proceed on with those. Some food. Probably should be holding on to some standard rations as well, just in case we need them for something special. I guess let's give you that. Dagger goes to uphill. We don't hear dagger goes to uphill. Rock goes to uphill, not a dagger. We didn't give him a dagger, right? You didn't give him a dagger? We didn't give him a dagger. Now we just have to pick up all the trash. Maybe this is why I'm so obsessed with picking up garbage. I get so upset when people litter. Because it's very important you pick up all your arrows and daggers, because you never know when you're going to need them. Oh my goodness! Look at all the Kenku eggs here. I'm not going to take these ones. I'm going to leave all these 5 here. On the off chance we need them for some other reason. We could leave all our current eggs here, too, in this singular room and come back for them if we need them later. Because we don't know why we would want to hold on to them at the moment. Sure, we'll just leave all the eggs here. Make sure those doors are shut. This way, if Kenku spawn in those rooms, you don't have to worry about them running around causing all sorts of havoc. Including this room, Tim. Hear the Kenku walking faintly, waiting to throw their magic missiles at our faces. Okay, so let's stop the session here. Oh my god, that sounds so flipping close. Okay. Sorry, I had to double check to make sure I had to kill all the Kenku. All of them have to die. Everyone. Alright, so let's stop here. We'll go back upstairs. Rest. And then that'll do it for this session. Let's see. Oh, actually, we should. First off, Scribe Scrolls. We have no more Scribe Scrolls. Now our mage is leveled. And so they've gained a free 1st level and 3rd level spell, I think, right? Yep, perfect. Oh my god! Roikvis has Fireball, and I didn't even realize he had it. When did I scribe Fireball for him? I don't remember, but I'm super glad we did. Okay, so he'll take that, and he'll grab a Magic Missile. And Kukurhekis can take, I guess, a Shield spell? And he'll grab Haste as well. I'm going to actually clear this. We're going to grab Shield, Magic Missile, Detect Magic, Detect Magic. Nice! Hey! Alright, that's not so bad then. I thought we had missed the Fireball scroll earlier. I don't even remember when I picked it up. Alright everyone, so that will do it for this episode. I guess we should create food. And now I'll check on comments I got in the last part, and I'll see if I can read them and make it entertaining for you guys to watch or hear me talk about some other non-Eye of the Beholder related stuff. So I'll be right back. Hey everyone. Alright, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the comments I got on some of these Eye of the Beholder videos I've been uploading. I would like to get to Adorkable's big comment that she left on part 3 some time ago now. Adorkable, I'm so sorry it took so long to get to this, to your comment. And we're going to be reading Adorkable's comment word for word, and then I'll be able to give some thoughts on what she said, because she was describing why she likes 4th edition in particular, Dungeons & Dragons, as opposed to some of the other editions. And I always think it's really, how to say this? I like when people present new ways of looking at things and thoughts for me to consider that I have not before. And I've played 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons and 4th edition only a very limited amount of time, maybe like 1 or 2 campaigns. And I tried running a 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign when 3rd edition had first come out, and I didn't like it very much. But I think that's also, and I guess we're going to go on this tangent, Adorkable, before I start talking about your comment. That's also because of how used to 2nd edition I was, and still am. I could, and we'll talk about this going forward as well later on in this video, but man, I was able to create like an encounter on the fly and have it pretty much, if not perfectly balanced, then still very well balanced for what my players were capable of handling if it came to like a combat encounter or something of the sort. Whereas 3rd edition was so different with the perk system and different traits and how all the numbers kept increasing that I couldn't get used to it, at least not very quickly. And so I dropped it in favor of the system that I was more familiar with. Now, before we talk about your comment, Adorkable, I should probably talk about what we're seeing in the background really quick. This is a futuristic first-person dungeon crawling game. The combat is similar to Star Crawlers, but it gets set in a dystopian cyberpunk futuristic setting, as we'll see. Combat, though, is turn-based. I've played it now for about 8 hours, and although I really like some of the ideas in this game, and the combat graphics look pretty good for such a small group of developers who worked on this, in the end, it's not going to fit the bill. The characters are just too one-dimensional. There's no party banter, which occurs between anyone. It feels like a cross between Dragon Warrior and Darkest Dungeon, with how your people have very minuscule upgrades. You have to research all of them to apply them to them, and the missions, there is some different graphics between the different areas you go through, but it's going to feel very samey. And you fight, like after you've seen the enemies like about two or three times, you've seen most of what you're going to fight, and once you have a combat strategy, like once you know, it makes it sound like there's a single gimmick. Once you have your combat rotation set, you won't deviate from it at all. And also, some classes in this game are much more powerful than others. The Assassin, who we're seeing, I think, right in front of us at the moment, she is by far the best class in this game from what I can tell. I ran, not in this episode, but a later week, I think week 8 is what I'm on, or week 9 at the moment. I ran 3 of these girls, and they just decimated everything in front of them. Nothing put up a fight at all. I was basically one or two rounding most of the encounters I was having. And oh man, it's just not going to work, unfortunately. But I want you guys to also know that I am trying a bunch of different games at the moment to see if any of the ones I currently have will fit the bill. Because I would love to play something that no one's seen before, or very few people have seen before, for another type of dungeon crawler. At the moment, though, it looks like we're still going to be going with Star Crawlers as another one in the first-person dungeon romp games I plan on playing. And we'll probably be playing Grimrock as well. In any case, Adorkable, let's finally get to that comment of yours. I'm going to read Adorkable's comment straight, word for word, as she's written it, because it's a big comment, and I want to make sure I get all of it stated. And I don't have, although I have an outline printed here to keep me on track, I don't have anything written about what Adorkable has said. So this is going to be straight from my hip, as it were, which means it's going to be awful. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Oh, one more thing before I read it. I'm sorry, Adorkable. We will get to the comment, I promise. I promise we will, even though we spent 5 minutes not getting to it yet. I am going to attempt to play the rest of the, or at least, at the very least, the next video in the Eye of the Beholder series is going to be done in a similar vein to how I've been doing the Lobotomy Corporation videos, in that I will have an introduction where I'm talking with you guys as I'm playing the game, but then for the rest of the gameplay, I will likely be silent. I'm just going to play it without speaking, and I will be watching the game with you guys. In this way, I can actually focus on talking to you about things that I think are important, about like Dungeons & Dragons or some other games I've played in the past, or things, maybe questions or comments you guys have, without becoming so distracted by the gameplay itself that I can't focus on talking to you guys about anything else but the game. Otherwise, if I was to try it, you guys are going to get more of what you got in this video, which is me going, oh god, move out of the way, please move, like, throw the item, attack, why can't I attack, please stop swapping, as I begin to, to curse and swear at my inability to do the combat correctly in the game. So, while that's funny, and I'm sure some of you don't mind if the gameplay is like that when I'm talking about how poorly I'm doing, trying to fight off the enemies that we see in front of us, the Kenku, in this case, or especially in the next video. Wait till you see the next video. Holy crap! It's an army of Hawkmen that we're fighting. But I would like it to be more, I can't believe I'm going to say this, more about me, which is so weird to say that, but I would like it to be, so we're going to attempt that in the next video. If you guys like that, let me know, and hopefully it's acceptable, and we'll do that going forward for the entire Eye of the Beholder series. It does double the length of time that these videos take to produce, but you guys are absolutely worth it. I love you all. So, yeah, let me know what you think for the next video. You'll see what I'm talking about if you're not familiar with it. Alright, I'm babbling. So finally, Adorkable, let's go ahead and get started. And hopefully my voice is coming out well with what's going on in the background. I'm going to lower that just a tad. Okay. So, Adorkable starts us off with, this series could be dangerous for me. I can talk about the history of role-playing games and different systems and group dynamics and such for days. Dungeons & Dragons has a very interesting history, and each edition is its own unique beast. After years of studying the design principles behind them and playing each one, I found that there isn't a best one. So I think this is perfectly, this is a fair thing to say. Everyone's going to have a different opinion about these different systems and role-playing mechanics based around what they prefer, and depending upon, I guess, when and how it was introduced to them as well. We probably all have very fond memories of the first role-playing game, assuming that we are all gamers and like playing tabletop games, about the first one of them that we have ever played. I like 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons in particular because that was the first edition that I really sunk a lot of time into. And thus, I spent a lot of time trying to understand the rules. I actually understood the rules rather well. I can tell you that, like, on page 97 of the Dungeon Master Guide, I'm pretty sure that's the saving throws for the players are written there, if I recall correctly, and so on. So I have a good memory about all the different rules and how they can be applied to the players and the creatures I create. And I could whip up encounters on the fly if I needed to. I have a very fond memories about that because of that. And I understood the game mechanics very well and could explain them to all of my players, like Thaco and what have you, which I'll talk to you guys about in the future. In any case, that's why I like 2nd edition the best, because I have a great understanding of the gameplay mechanics and I like them. Even if it might sound like I don't, right? Because I have been very negative on 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons, or very critical of many of its gameplay mechanics, enough to make it sound like I'm not serious when I say 2nd edition is best edition. But I honestly feel that way. We'll talk more about that in the future. But Adorkable, to your statement, yes, I can absolutely understand that. And if I'm being honest, there probably is no best edition, just as you say. It'd be up to the individual players and dungeon masters to decide what's best for their play style and what their players like to play. I suppose I'm going to continue with this tangent for a little bit more. On that note, like, my 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons rule set is heavily modified. There isn't... almost every single aspect of it has been tweaked in some fashion to make it more approachable for my players, and I find to encourage more diversity in character classes and role-playing experiences. One more thing about this game that we're watching, by the way, the music is phenomenal. I thought so. I'm pretty sure the music producers are the same ones who made the music for Mainframe Defenders. There's one track in particular that sounds almost exactly the same type of synth is used in it, so I'm pretty sure it's the same group. Alright, anyway, Adorkable continues with each edition was designed to encourage different things and types of thinking. It's mostly about finding the edition that best supports the type of game you want to play. Okay, yeah, yep, I agree with that entirely, yep. Adorable continues with, if I had to pick a favorite D&D edition, I would probably struggle to pick between 4th and 5th, with 2nd being the 3rd choice. I started on 3.5 and actually enjoyed it and played it for years, until I realized that 3.5 doesn't really support the type of game I like to play or run. It's a great system for those who like a very simulationist or mechanics-heavy game, but it's so bloated with rules for almost any situation that it tends to drag groups away from telling a story and more into tactics, strategy, miniatures game. In fact, Wizards of the Coast literally released a rule set to turn 3.5 into a warband skirmish game while it was at peak popularity. I got that impression as well. 3.5 and 4th edition felt like miniature games to me when I was playing it, with the various rules, especially any game that has like the 5-foot step mechanic and the attacks of opportunity for entering and leaving a zone of control. That just screams miniature game to me. Because I've played games like that. War Machine was a miniature game I played that had stuff of that sort. I find it impossible to really separate the two. Like, you need to know, for combat encounters at least, you need to know exactly where everything is standing and what's guarding which, like, who's watching which fire line, who's entering into the attack range of a enemy, so that you know when certain creatures get to attack and who they can attack. Where even what their forward facing is very important. And while I've used miniatures in my games, it's mostly just to let my players get a feel for the battleground and have a visual representation of what's happening around them. But we don't use any attacks of opportunity. People can move in and out of combat without taking hits. We do use movement rules a little bit so that people know how far they can move in a given round. But it's mostly, when I use miniatures, it's mostly, again, for the feel, so the people have an idea of how many creatures are still left, who's fighting what, and a range, so they realize which things are far away, and that they might not be able to reach certain enemies in one round, even if they were to try to run full tilt towards them. I didn't realize that Wizards of the Coast made 3.5 into an actual warband game, though. Do you remember what that was called, Adorable? I mean, I can go look it up, obviously, but I'm probably going to forget to do so after this video ends.
Okay, we kicked its ass.
That talking, by the way, in this game is our drone. It's the camera that we're basically seeing here. It explains why we see what's in front of us, and man, so many people had criticism about the drone. Its quips. And I tried my best to like it, and I don't like the drone either. I think in this video, you'll see me at some point reduce its volume down to 0, so it doesn't... I can't hear it anymore. Adorable continues with, I like 4th edition because the rules are simple, evocative, and balanced. Which is why a lot of people really dislike it, actually. It's too balanced, and often classes feel somewhat meaningless apart from their intended role in the party. All the damage dealers feel samey. Same with the controllers. Leaders have some interesting variety, but it's mostly a question of, do you hit hard, screw with enemies, or heal and buff? That turns most people off, but it makes encounter design simple, and lets GMs focus on telling a story. I've played only one 4th edition game, if I recall correctly. I wasn't a dungeon master for it. It was a few years ago, I think now, 4 years ago, I think. And we had a new dungeon master who was playing. 3 new players who never played Dungeon Master, never played before, and Chris and I showed up as the veterans of Dungeons and Dragons to help explain, like, the idea of playing it, which is you don't care about what you roll. You're there to have fun. Your characters die, so be it. And we added a lot of humor and role playing to the game. I was playing a very stupid but heavily armed and armored dwarven bodyguard. And it was great, man. People were rolling with laughter at how dumb I was making my character act. But it was great. We had a lot of fun role-playing with the game. I think 4th edition, Adorable, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, that was the one with powers, if I recall correctly. I think it was Dennis Mayak or Mark who was telling me that 4th edition sounds like it was... like, your characters have skills you can use all the time, skills you can use, like, once a day, or, like, 3 times a day, and like once per level or once per month abilities or something like that. And I like the idea because a spellcaster in this game could actually cast like Magic Missile or whatever their spell was over and over and over again. So they would feel a little bit more like an actual spellcaster, as opposed to the old editions which had spell memorizations, which we've talked about briefly. I'm not a fan of the memorization, but I understand why they did it that way, or I have a better idea now. But I liked that change to it. I can understand why people might not like that themselves, though, because then it's all about just how much damage you do at ranged, if you have a ranged attack power. Like, if you're, if you use a bow. Once again, I didn't play 4th edition very much, and my character wasn't a ranged character, but the example I'm going to give, I think my character could, push someone out of the way to stop him from attacking someone else, hit someone with his weapon, and, there was, I think I could heal myself a little bit, if I recall correctly. And I think I had another power I don't remember very well. But I can understand why people would be upset if their characters feel a little too similar to each other. In 2nd edition, the classes felt very different from each other, depending upon what you were, right? Like, thieves had their role of detecting traps, picking locks, and stuff like that, which the other classes didn't even have access to, depending upon what they were. So there was quite a bit of different diversity there with the character classes and what they were capable of handling. There must have been some of that in 4th edition, though. I can't really talk too much more about it, though, or I can't speak to any of its systems, because I did not play very much of it. So I should probably shut up and keep reading your comment, Adorable. I suppose I will say that when it comes to storytelling, that is the most important aspect of Dungeons & Dragons to me. I want to be involved in a really good story. I don't generally like just pure hack-and-slash adventures where it comes down to game mechanics and how much damage you do, and what treasure you're getting. That's an important part of Dungeons & Dragons. Like, your players want to fight. Well, do they? I guess it depends upon the campaign you're running. My players, and from my experience running campaigns, have enjoyed the dungeons I have set up for them to romp through. They all like getting treasure, finding items with magical powers that can help fill out their character more, things that their characters looking for to help them. Like, in my current campaign, my brother Dave is a shaman who spends a lot of his time out on the ocean, and he recently got a trident that lets him breathe underwater, and he went nuts. He absolutely loved the whole idea of that when he picked up this weapon. So that's a small example that I can see people loving a story, but I think everyone does like their characters getting treasure and seeing all those numbers go up. Even if they prefer having a great story. Preferably you have both a great story and a fun time doing the combat encounters too. But Adorable continues, sorry about that tangent, with I consider it a great system for GMs that aren't confident with more complicated mechanics. 5th edition is like a wonderful mashup of 3.5's variety with 4th's simplicity. Most of the numbers are kept intentionally banded within a certain range to avoid the 3.5 problem of ridiculous math and calculations to make high-level characters. And so, I can't speak to any of this Adorable and what you're going to say next, but I can understand, I think, what you're talking about. My brief exposure with 3.5 and 3 was that you wanted to stack as many bonuses as possible onto each other, so you would have huge bonuses added to your die rolls, like plus 20 to a die roll to help you succeed. And I think it was 3rd edition or 3.5 that had what they were called DCs, is that right? Like difficulty challenges or challenge levels or something like that, if I recall correctly. 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons DC. I am lying, or it's not called that. But I thought there was like a challenge level or something of this sort, and like certain things were explained in terms of your characters need to roll this or better to make that roll. Oh, actually, I guess I'm kind of lying in a way. I have played 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons, right? I've played through Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I think I think that was using a 3rd edition rule set, wasn't it? Or 3.5? I think it was 3rd edition, if I recall correctly. I think that's accurate. I can say that. So, I guess I'm lying in a way if what I'm saying right there is true. All right. Anyway, Adorable continues with in 3.5, a fighter might start with a +6 to hit with his longsword at level 1 and end up at +48, +43, +38, +33 at level 15. Good God, +48. I can't imagine that. That's amazing. Basically, you always hit and do incredible damage with it, I take it. In 5th, you might start with a +6 and end up with a +13 or 14 at higher levels. But because armor class doesn't get into the high 30s in 5th, you still hit way more often. Okay, so I gotcha. So they toned down all the numbers. So instead of having massive amounts of big bonuses, you now have slight bonuses to your skills. But the enemies don't have great amounts of hit points or incredible levels of armor, so you don't feel like you need to have those simply overwhelming bonuses to win some of the encounters that you would otherwise be struggling with. Adorable continues with, it also means that characters of lower levels can actually still contribute to a fight. In 3.5 or 4th, if your character was for some reason more than about 2 levels behind the highest level party member, were pretty much useless because of how much the numbers can bloat with each level. In 5th edition, that rarely feels like the case because the actual numbers don't increase so quickly and never go beyond about ±10 in difference, which can dramatically shift probabilities of success, but not out of reach of a lucky d20 roll. If you have a +7 to hit and the monster has an AC of 24, you still have a chance to contribute. But if you have a +7 to hit and the monster has a 36 AC, you are now completely useless. I've always felt like as a dungeon master, you should have a good understanding of what your players are going up against, and not pit them against something that they can't handle. So like if
It's a strange feeling, like a tingling sensation.
So like if you know that, or if your players don't have fantastic gear and aren't well suited to to fight something that's super heavily armored. Maybe don't throw the superly heavy armored creature at them, or have like some sort of special item or a potion or something that gives them a chance against the creature, or maybe that's the boss and they have to struggle to find a way to deal with it instead of having it be something that they frequently encounter and have to worry about. At least I tend to tailor my encounters around what my players are able to handle. Sometimes I do demand maybe a little more from my players, but they've always surprised me with some of the ingenuity and unique solutions to some problems that I throw their way on occasion. But I still won't throw something extraordinarily powerful. Like, if they're level 5, I'm not going to throw a beholder at them, for example. That's just wishing them to die, and I feel like that's not fair to my players. But as I think I've mentioned a few times, I'm also the type of dungeon master that doesn't like killing their players. And when I run a game module, as I point, and no one can see me point with my thumb behind me, to one of my dungeon magazines, or the Under Mountain game module, or any game module for that matter, I'm going to tweak things before I run it to make sure that the numbers better suit what my players are capable of fighting in terms of combat mechanics. And the same goes for like traps or the like. Like a module might say like the chance to find traps is at like a minus 15%, and I'll look at what my thief's able to do, and if that makes it impossible for him to find it or disarm it, I'm not going to do that. In fact, I might give them even a bonus to finding it, just to make the thief feel more like he's contributing to help the group avoid these things. So it's all about trying, as a dungeon master, trying to balance both the excitement and danger that the players are in, along with their capability of handling these things. I suppose I should also state that whenever I have played Dungeons & Dragons, I think only once, so not always then, so I'm lying with what I just said, but only once have I ever played with someone that I was not familiar with and a friend of first. My games have always been with family and real-life friends. And by friends, I mean people that I've known for at least like a year before I invite them to the Dungeons & Dragons group, because I want to have a good feeling for what these people are like. I have had friends who are much more metagamey, and I would not play Dungeons & Dragons with them or invite them to the group, because that would be bad for all the players. So I suppose as a Dungeon Master, you not only need to know what your players' characters are capable of, but what your players are capable of if you want to have a fun time with everyone playing together. Adorkable continues with basically what I'm saying is that each edition of Dungeons & Dragons fulfills a different desire among the gaming population, and don't let someone tell you any particular one is or isn't worth playing. Give them all a try and find the one that works for you. That is great advice, and I think that will segue nicely into what Mark Williams was talking about, because he and I were having a discussion, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it on the last video, where Mark is a huge fan. He very much likes Pool of Radiance, the old SSI game, and I'm as you guys have heard, I'm not the biggest fan of the game. Different strokes for different folks is probably the most accurate thing to say. Everyone's tastes are different, and just because I don't like something doesn't mean that you can't. And what Adorkable says here is very true. I like 2nd edition as the best because of my familiarity, I can't pronounce the word, how familiar I am with the gaming system, and my ability to quickly draft a stat line for a creature that will give my players either a tough time or not a tough time, depending upon what I'm trying to go for for an encounter, and my understanding of how combats work and so on. But other people might not like it. They might not like how most of these systems roll, like making a saving throw against magic wands, staves, and rods. Why is that not a will save, for example? And so, or the Dungeon Master and their players might prefer a different system. They might like the character creation method in these systems better than some others, and so on. There's endless reasons why someone might prefer one edition of Dungeons & Dragons, or any game for that matter, over another one. It's the same way with any video game that we're playing. Like the video game back here, I'm playing to see if I like this one or not compared to some of the other first-person dungeon crawling games that I've played. And while there are some things about this game that I like, there are others that I don't like. So, I guess what I'm trying to say, Adorkable, is I agree wholeheartedly 100% with that statement. That just because you don't like one Dungeons & Dragons gaming system, assuming that you like Dungeons & Dragons at all, doesn't mean that you'll dislike another one. You might like a different edition of the campaign. Or heck, you might like the gameplay system, but dislike the way your Dungeon Master plays, in which case finding a different role-playing group might work best instead, for example. So, Adorkable ends with, and then realize that Dungeons & Dragons is obviously inferior to Fate, and play that instead. Fate is my favorite system, but isn't for everyone. As the rules are free, I encourage everyone to give it a try, though. There you go. Adorkable says you guys should go look up Fate. So go ahead and look that up. I myself did not even look that up yet, Adorkable, so after I'm done recording this part, I'll probably go and put that on. So I have something to listen to in the background while I record a different game for the next episode to talk about comments and discussions. Alright, so let's segue now into Pool of Radiance for a bit. And I have another 5 pages of notes here that there is no way we're going to get to, because it's been 30 minutes in this video already. So actually, maybe we should stop here. We should. Okay. So we'll stop here, and in the next video, I will chat to you guys about stuff as we're playing the game, because I will be, once again, watching that game right along with you guys as I'm talking. I won't be talking and playing at the same time, except for the introduction. And I'll still fit another video at the end of it to show off another game I was trying to see if it would fit the bill. And we'll talk about that game briefly when I show it at the end of the video.
Hold your applause. I'm just doing my thing.
Thank you, Robot. Thank you. All right, guys. So thank you guys for watching this, and I will see you hopefully all in the next one. Take care, guys.